We go ahead and call the meeting to order. If everyone would join me, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Michael, can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let the record reflect that all council members are present, with the exception of Mayor Lands.
Conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest to be noted by council members? Agenda review. Any changes to the agenda?
Vice Mayor, no changes to the agenda this evening.
Thank you. Next is public comment. Anyone wishing to address the City Council on items that do not appear on tonight's agenda may do so. Just step up or raise your hand if you're out there in the virtual world. And we'd like you to limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and the City Clerk will time you. Are there any hands out there, Michael?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We do have 2 hands raised. And as a reminder to reiterate what the Vice Mayor stated, this is for items not on the agenda. I'm going to go ahead and give Heather Lenahan permission to speak first. And I'll go ahead and start your timer once you start, Heather.
Thank you. Can you hear me? All right, great. Hi, council members. My name is Heather Lenahan. I am a local realtor. And I'm here tonight just out of curiosity and a wee bit of concern. I am representing a client here who is selling their mobile home. And I just wanted some clarity on the mobile home rent control ordinance that Cloverdale has. I called the city 2 days ago and spoke with a gentleman in the planning department, and he had said that the city of Cloverdale does not enforce the rent control. And I am here tonight just wondering if that is the case and if there is plans in the future to control it, to have some kind of code enforcement or something. I know that there's a board that is supposed to review the rent control. I'm not sure if there is a board in place, but just kind of looking at what that looks like.
Okay. Well, thank you for those comments. Unfortunately, it was a little garbled. I didn't quite catch it all. But I'm going to refer you to City Hall and to either talk with our city manager, David Kelly, or our assistant city manager, Kevin Thompson. And
Okay.
David, is that a good referral?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor Walter. I would recommend Ms. Lenahan to contact myself. Heather, my email is D as in David, Kelly, Kelley, at ci.cloverdale.ca.us.
Great.
And we will discuss whether to refer this matter to a council subcommittee for further discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor, next we have a Mike Dean with his hand up, and I'm going to go ahead and give you permissions to speak in a moment.
Mike, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me, sir?
To share with us.
So thanks for your time. My name is Michael Dean. I served 10 years in the California National Guard with 2 combat deployments. I'm representing me and my family. We've been renting in a mobile home space for approximately 20 years. I'm the one that hired Heather. Going back, we've had rent increases every year, and I didn't know what right looked like. And when she told me that my biggest hurdle to sell the trailer would be the higher than normal price of the space, I was concerned. I looked into the ordinance. There's a municipal code ordinance 753-2023. And I would like to a little help from you guys on how I petition that review board, and to see if these mobile parks, per the ordinance, the mobile park is supposed to, in writing, ask for review of a price index each time they do it. My mother was just diagnosed, my mother-in-law, with heart disease, and she cannot work. That's why I came and helped her sell the trailer, and I'm now going to be taking over her rent for a different space. And I just need to know what to expect going forward. I really appreciate you guys taking my time. I'm not trying to redo what Heather responded, but I just wanted to kind of take a moment and let you know that it's a big deal for us as members of the community.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in front of us this evening. And once again, I'm sure Mr. Kelly or Mr. Thompson are going to be able to sit down and chat with you about the process.
Perfect.
Michael, is there any other hands out there in the public?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. No one else is raising their hand online or in person at this time.
And I guess we'll move next to correspondence.
Yes, item C, communications.
Sorry?
Vice Mayor, no communications.
No communications? Okay. Next is...
Oh, actually, pardon me. We did add a communication that was received after the agenda was posted. It was an email directed to council in regards to our traffic control program administered by our Cloverdale Police Department, and it was recognizing Chief Ferguson for his work in deployment of our radar trailer on Foothill Boulevard and what it's done to help address speeding vehicles. So I just wanted to, no specific call to action. It was just an acknowledgement of the work by Chief Ferguson and the police department in addressing traffic control in Cloverdale.
Well, thank you, David. And we know that's a wonderful addition to our police department. I always get a kick when I have somebody drive me by it and see if we can make those lights flash. But thank you, Chief. Next is a student liaison report. I don't think we have a student liaison today.
That's correct, Vice Mayor. We don't have a student liaison quite yet.
So the next will be proclamations, and Councilmember Morgenstern has volunteered to read the proclamation. So Marjorie, I'm just going to turn this section of the City Council agenda over to you.
Proclamation of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale declaring August 26, 2023 Women's Equality Day in Cloverdale. Whereas on August 26, 2023, we mark the 103rd anniversary of the enactment of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which secured the right to vote for women. And whereas women now constitute nearly 50% of our workforce, the majority of the students in our colleges and graduate schools, and an increasing number of primary sources of income. And whereas in 2016 to 2020, Sonoma County women as a whole earned approximately 88% of what men earn. And whereas women in Sonoma County are more likely than men to live below the federal poverty threshold, the greatest poverty rate among families is for those headed by single women caring for their own children. 1 in 5, 21% of households headed by single mothers with 1 to 2 minor children of their own from 2016 to 2020 lived in income less than the federal poverty threshold. And whereas even with the gains women have made, work remains to be done in many areas that directly impact equal pay for equal work, including access to quality, affordable child care, affordable housing, and comprehensive health care for women, including reproductive and mental health care. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Cloverdale does hereby declare August 26, 2023 as Women's Equality Day in Cloverdale. marking the 103rd anniversary of the enactment of the 19th Amendment, celebrating the achievements of women and recommitting to realizing gender equality in the city of Cloverdale, including equal pay for equal work, dated August 23, 2023, so ordered by Mayor Todd Lance.
Thank you, Councilmember Morgenstern. Is there anyone, is there anyone here to accept the proclamation? Why don't you just come forward and share with us?
Thank you all for proclaiming this. My name is Caitlin Quinn. I'm the chair of the Sonoma County Commission on the Status of Women. I hail from Petaluma, and with me I have my vice chair, Commissioner Gina Fortino-Dixon from Windsor, representing the 4th District. If it's okay, I'd just like to say a few words. Thank you again for proclaiming this. We actually got all cities and the county to proclaim Women's Equality Day this year, which is really exciting. And so, like I said, Saturday will be the 103rd anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which at least theoretically gave women the right to vote, right? We know that in practice, many women of color, many Black women, immigrant women, disabled women were unable to access that supposed right. There have been and continue to be various other ways women are not truly accessing equality, whether it's housing, childcare, rights in the workplace, health care, being in elected office, what have you. So I really hope city leaders will take this proclamation as a reminder to commit to enact policy that aims to improve the lives of the people most marginalized in our society. When we really focus on women, when we focus on Black folks, when we focus on immigrants, when we focus on the disabled or folks having housing problems, when we focus on our queer and trans community, it really does uplift us all and it really does improve all of our lives. A rising tide lifts all boats, not just yachts. So I just really think that by centering those most marginalized around us is how we all get free. So if the commission can ever be of assistance to the city of Cloverdale, we would love to help you in anything you're doing, especially anything that explicitly fights sexism and misogyny. But like I said, all sorts of issues intersect, and so we are happy to be here. We do have one more vacancy in the 4th District, so if you know anyone in Cloverdale that would like to represent Cloverdale on the Commission of the Status of Women, they can reach out to us or reach out to Supervisor Gore to see if they can get involved. And we look forward to collaborating on projects to improve the lives of women and everyone else affected by gender-based discrimination. So thank you again, and thank you for your public service. I know what it's like to sit in one of these meetings and have no one show up, and it's like, is it really good or really bad? It depends on the day. Do you want to say anything?
I think she said it all. Actually, we're at the tail end of the month, and this speech gets better every time she gives it. So you got the best version. And thank you, Vice Mayor, council members, and staff for acknowledging this day and continuing the work and the fight that it takes out there every day to foster equality. It's tough because gone are the days where it's blatantly in our face. My husband didn't have to trade a cow for the privilege of marrying me and my services as his wife, right? And I can go now and get a bank account or a credit card without his permission. And so those kinds of blatant things aren't there in our faces. It's really the underlying hidden biases that we're now fighting, and it can be challenging, even more challenging, to address those because they're obsequious. They're not noticed by most. And so that brings me to my male allies speech, part of the speech. So it's really important that those in power become the allies to those without the power and step forward and notice and say, or ask, hey, that was a little weird in that meeting. How did you feel about it? And what could I have done to support you when that happened, if it happens again? So thank you all for considering this to continue to be an issue that you're going to focus on.
Well, thank you, and don't go running off. We're going to come down and give you a little plaque here, and we want to take a photo. But before we do, I just want to bring it back to the dais to see if any council members would like to make a remark or two. Please, just go right ahead. Otherwise, let's go get a photo taken.
Well, I had the privilege of hearing the speech on Monday in Healdsburg, and it was great then, too. So thank you so much for your commitment to the commission and honoring Cloverdale with your lemon themed shirt. I thought that was perfect. That was perfect. And it's hotter up here than it probably is in Cloverdale. And thank you so much for all of the time and effort that you do commit to women, but, and also pointing out that when you lift up women, you lift up everyone, including their children, of whom I was the child of a single mom. So I really appreciate the work that you do, and it's so important to continue to, fight against those microaggressions and, the not so obvious discrimination. So bless you, and thank you for coming up here today.
Thank you. Why don't we go take a photo? Okay?
Sounds good, yeah.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Great speech. Thank you.
I was standing back. I was standing in the back row. I'm always forward.
And real quick, I just want to make a pitch, if I can, Ms. Quinn, for any information you can share about the vacancy, and we'll push that out.
We can put that in our newsletter.
Oh, they have? They're holding it up. I'm a lone 4th District Commissioner out here.
Other camera.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Ladies,
again.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Awesome. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks for having us. Thank you so much. Cool.
Yeah, if I get the information about the vacancy, I'll put a write up in our newsletter and encourage folks to, direct them to the application page.
Great. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, council members, for taking that photo. Next, I believe, is the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar will be approved by one motion. Anyone on the council or in the audience that wishes to have an item pulled from the consent calendar and discussed separately may do so. So with that being said, is there anyone that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar?
Yep, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Michael, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Bagby,
Aye.
Councilmember Morgenstern,
Hi.
Councilmember Wheeler,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wolter.
Aye.
Consent calendar passes 4 ayes, and Mayor Lance being absent.
Next, I believe, is a public hearing on weed abatement. Is that correct? And David, who has that item?
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'll introduce this item and then turn it over to our Assistant City Manager, Community Development Director Thompson. Tonight is a public hearing to address the destruction of weeds on specified private properties. This is a public hearing as part of our nuisance abatement sections of our city municipal code. And there were a number of properties that council previously identified that were considered a nuisance because of the existence of weeds, particularly the nuisance being a fire hazard. Our staff has coordinated with Cloverdale Fire on identifying properties that are non-compliant, and the public hearing tonight is to address those properties that where abatement is still necessary. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant City Manager for a more detailed report.
Thanks, David, Vice Mayor. So this is kind of the second part. You might remember on July 26th, we adopted a resolution declaring the weeds a nuisance. So this is the public hearing portion in the two-part process. Just so you know, everyone on that list was sent 1-2 letters. We did get generally 100% compliance except for two property owners. One is the Vista Oaks subdivision, which they're required, and this is confirmed today by the fire district, which they're required to mow all the weeds within 25 feet of their property line since it's a bigger parcel. And the other one is 135 Brookside Drive. Those are the two that have not complied. I did speak to the owner of the Vista Oaks subdivision. He was trying to get it done today, but he said he'd get it done as soon as possible, and he was apologized for not having it done yet. The Brookside one, we have not heard from them. So if you choose to adopt the attached resolution, it's going to authorize the fire district to enter the property. Also will authorize staff to seek an abatement order through Sonoma County Superior Court, which will allow us to try to recoup the funds. So hopefully, given that there's only two and one has already agreed to comply, there's only one left. So, hopefully they will get the message and do that before the fire district gets over there. But the resolution will authorize the fire district to take care of it if they do not comply.
Thank you, Kevin. Council, are there any questions? Councilmember Bagby, any? Okay. Kevin, how many were first noticed?
Let's see here.
You said.
There was quite a few.
Yeah.
12.
I'm pretty impressed that we had that much of a positive response.
13.
Yeah. In years past, we didn't. The one on Brookside, is that Brookside and Cloverdale Boulevard?
No, it's further down Brookside. It's
On the east or the west?
it's on the I think it's on the north side of Brookside.
Oh, the north. Okay. All right. Okay.
Kind of closer to 101. It's a known address.
Well, there's I believe, a resolution or.
Prior to that, can we, since it's a public hearing, if you can officially open the public hearing? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Michael. Let me go ahead and open the public hearing to see if there's any comments out there from anyone.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. There's nobody online at this time, and nobody is raising their hand here.
Okay. Then let's bring it back to the dais for one more go around if there's any questions. Otherwise, can someone make a motion?
I do have my glasses tonight. I have my motion to approve.
I second that.
Michael, can we have a roll?
Unfortunately, Councilmember Wheeler, you're going to have to read it by title only.
Read by title only, yes, and I will do that.
Unless you'd like to read the entire
Not new
resolution.
glasses, but I will read it. I got it.
Do what?
Glasses.
Oh.
All right, resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale ordering the Cloverdale Fire Protection District Chief or other authorized person to abate weeds previously declared a nuisance on private properties located at 135 Brookside Drive, APN 001-252-021, 650 and 680. South Cloverdale Boulevard, APN 001-332-009 and 021. And Vista Oaks Subdivision, APNs 116-050-011, 116-060-012, 025, 027, 033, 063, 067, 001350 through 005 and 038, authorizing the Cloverdale Fire Protection District Chief or other authorized persons to enter onto said properties to abate the weeds, and authorizing staff to seek an abatement order through the Sonoma County Superior Court for the same, if necessary, under the circumstances.
Thank you, Councilmember Wheeler. With that, I'll take the vote. Councilmember Bagby? Councilmember Morgenstern?
Aye.
Councilmember Wheeler?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wolter?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1 with Mayor Lance being absent.
Okay, thank you. Next item is a new item, and it has to do with the voting delegate. And David, is that you?
Mayor, happy to take this item on behalf of our city clerk. The item before you tonight is to designate the voting delegate and alternate for the up-and-coming League of California Cities 2023 annual conference, noting the agenda report reflected the 2022 conference. During that conference, typically on Friday, there is a discussion of various initiatives that are brought forward by the league. The voting delegates have to be appointed by council or designated by council prior to that meeting, and at that time, they are provided a voting card to cast their vote. And the purpose of the appointment is to ensure that they can, your delegate can vote on those league initiatives. Again, this is in preparation for the annual conference meeting. Council, after being polled who would like to attend, we have 2 members of council that have indicated they plan on attending the conference. That includes Mayor Lands and Councilmember Bagby. So really, it's up to council on how you would like to designate the voting delegates for the conference. Typically, it's the mayor, but it can also be a council member as the voting delegate. In this case, we are asking you to appoint both the voting delegate and alternate. So a recommendation would be consider both Mayor Lands and Councilmember Bagby for the delegate and alternate position, since there are only 2 council members that will be in attendance.
Thank you, David. Before we make a recommendation, are there any questions from the dais? I just have, when will we be, as a council, provided with the items that are to be voted on? I mean, in the past, and I assume it's still the same, we give instructions to the delegate how to vote, and we also give them the latitude to change the vote should something arise at the conference. So when will we be presented with the items that they're going to be voting on?
Traditionally, the list of items that are going to be discussed at the conference are provided in advance. I don't know if those have been prepared yet and disseminated. I know our Councilmember Bagby is.
Oh, they're not ready yet. I think it's typically about a week in advance. Yeah, and they're trying to give more time so that cities have more time to deliberate, but it just sort of depends on what happens with this legislative session. There's all kinds of shenanigans going on right now. But it's worth noting that you're primarily asked to vote on things that don't fall clearly into the already agreed upon policy standards of Cal cities. That's if it were something that falls outside of the agreed upon legislative platform. That's what tends to go to General Assembly.
Well, are there any recommendations, council members, on, first of all, are we all clear on what the voting delegate does? And then secondly, are there any recommendations?
Traditionally, and like you said, David, is it's usually the mayor. Obviously, the mayor's coming down, being the lead of the dais or whatever. He's going to be, traditionally, he's the main one, and then the delegate is another. Correct? Is that how it usually goes? I mean,
there's a delegate and an alternate.
right.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be then let's keep it like that with Cloverdale. Personally, my suggestion would be have mayor be the main, and then Councilmember Bagby be the delegate or the alternate.
Is there a second on that?
I second that.
Michael, can we have a roll call?
Councilmember Bagby,
Aye.
Councilmember Morgenstern,
Aye.
Councilmember Wheeler,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Walter,
Aye.
Mayor Lands being absent, the motion carried 4-1.
Well, thank you. The next item is the subcommittee reports, and I am going to ask Councilmember Wheeler to guide us through the rest of the agenda. So, Brian, if you would, please.
Let's move right into item J, subcommittee reports. Jeff.
Sure. Finance Administration, our next meeting is October 2nd. And Planning and Sustainability, our next meeting is October 17th.
Public Works and Facilities, our next meeting is September 26th. We had a cancellation on it this month, so the next one is in September.
Joint City Cloverdale Unified School the next meeting is October 16, 2023.
Homelessness Advisory Group, next meeting is October 9th. Okay, council member reports. Do any of the council member have reports?
Well, I submitted mine in writing, if I may,
Yeah,
but, yeah, but I just want to add, I did leave one off, and I updated the record with Michael. I did attend the Healdsburg City Council meeting on a Monday, not for fun, but as a member of the SMART Board, because they were kicking off their discussions of the SMART station location. They have 3 possible locations that they're looking at. They have a very old report from 1997. That just, you know, lots has changed in Healdsburg since 1997, let alone, you know, in the 2000s when I commuted there. And so it was basically an introduction to the city council of their options, and it will kick off the community outreach process where they'll do a series of community meetings and get public input and come up with the best location, because actually the train station can be located anywhere along the line per SMART's right-of-way. So that was really exciting news, and I think that there were people in the audience who just never thought that day was going to come, but there's money for the bridge. There's not quite enough money to complete the rail line, but we're working on it, and we have funding that we are in the process of applying for to complete the segment from Windsor to Healdsburg. So we're getting up to Healdsburg, we're getting over the river, and forward to Cloverdale.
So, Councilmember Bagby, the site of the train station there will definitely, irregardless of the 3, be on the other side of the river.
Yes.
Good, okay.
Yes. That's very important. In addition to that, SMART's really committed and and the community was very receptive to to SMART's commitment to the multimodal trail, because it's really going to give people access from town across the river via walking and bicycling. That's been a real need that they've had, and you know, SMART is not just SMART is not just a train; it's the multimodal trail as well. And so the public, members of the public, some of whom you could kind of tell were ardent bicyclists because they kind of pulled up and on their bikes and brought their helmets in and stuff. But they were very enthusiastic about the support for not just the train, but SMART's commitment to multimodal transportation. So it was a really exciting night, and hopefully we'll be having one of those in Cloverdale sometime soon.
Thank you, Councilmember Bagby. Okay, David, we are on informational reports. Any informational reports?
No informational reports, Councilmember Wheeler.
Legislative reports and letters of support or opposition. I see we have one letter of support.
Thank you, Councilmember. Included in your packet is a letter of support signed by Mayor Lands. This is in support of a grant application submitted by La Familia Sana to the California Strategic Growth Council as a planning grant to address needs for emergency preparedness within our community. So just included in your packet is a copy of that letter for your reference.
How is that different from CERT?
Yes, that's a great question, Vice Mayor Walter. Really, there's a key difference in CERT. CERT is a formally designated entity for northern Sonoma County. In this case, La Familia Sana is seeking funding really as a local city organization. COAD refers to community organizations active in disaster. So in this case, it would be probably, if I understand what their goal is, would be to have more emergency preparedness at the local city level in collaboration with the larger Sonoma County COAD.
Gotcha, thank you.
Where CERT tends to be more formally trained in emergency response in what's referred to as the ICS protocols for emergency response. whereas co-eds tend to be a group of volunteers that are going to be called upon to assist during emergencies with things like food insecurity, conducting visits to folks that may need assistance at home, other kinds of assistance during emergency events.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a follow-up question, sorry, regarding a different piece of legislation, specifically ACA 13. I think we received notification from the league that they're seeking letters of support. And I would advise that that the mayor sign a letter of support for that right away. And that is in keeping with, I think, with the loosely based legislative platform and history that we do have of supporting local control.
And Councilmember Bagby, my understanding is that the league is currently developing a draft letter of support. They haven't done so yet. They're tracking the legislation as it makes its way through the state legislative process.
Oh, I think there's late breaking news on that. They have a letter.
Oh, okay.
Yep, okay.
All right. Well, that's good news.
I don't expect you to keep up with everything, and this is it's been quite a week, and it's only Wednesday, so.
Excellent. I'll check my email on that. I don't know if maybe it
I'll
came to you
forward
as
it
a
to
board
you,
member.
so it comes to the top, sure.
Okay.
All right, city manager report.
Thank you, Councilmember. I just want to, as we make our way through the summer and, we're seeing, how weather events can affect, our standing, knowing that we just had a very significant storm event in Southern California, and with kind of the drying out after a very significant wet storm, or wet winter, we find ourselves, smack in the middle of fire season. But I want to assure council that we continue to continue our emergency preparedness efforts as part of the Resilient Cloverdale Initiative and Clover Ready. Our chief has been actively coordinating with our Cloverdale co-ad, and I wanted to kind of turn over to Chief just to give council a real kind of a brief snapshot of the planning efforts that he's been engaged in with our community under the Clover Ready program.
Chief, thank you, David. Yeah, just like David was saying, Resilient Cloverdale has been in existence since the Kincaid fire, shortly thereafter, and I continue to meet with the Cloverdale co-ed group every month, every Tuesday, and particularly this time of year during fire season, we call an all-hands-on-deck meeting, and we really go over what are our preparation efforts, what do we have in place, how are we going to do notifications, and it just so happened that this year, right in the heart of this meeting, the Maui fires happened, and so we spent a lot of time on discussions during that about that and some of the concerns that we're watching on TV from its community members. And so what we really looked at is kind of did a check the boxes to make sure when we're hearing these concerns, what does Cloverdale look like? And do we have the resources and the things available that we're hearing weren't happening there? So really what we did is we checked, do we have the notifications in place that go out and are going to go out? Yes. And right down the list to, do we have shelter capacity? Do we have resources to staff all of this? Do we have high-low sirens to be able to go through neighborhoods? I'm very happy to report that we were able to check so many of these boxes so that we are prepared for these emergencies. And a couple of other things that came up during this meeting that I want to share with you that are somewhat new to us. And I think the more important one is the Department of Emergency Management has pre-positioned supplies and emergency equipment at a designated location here in Cloverdale. And why that is so critical and important to us is we all know that if there's a significant earthquake that strikes, that we may very well lose critical infrastructure like our highway system. And that would really hamper our ability to help our community if we didn't have those supplies readily available. This has been in the works for quite some time, and it's been talked about, having stuff pre-planned here. And this includes when the county has to, designate our shelter as an emergency shelter, they would have those supplies readily available. So it's a huge benefit for this community, and it's a fantastic opportunity for us. And To add to that, the Red Cross, if they haven't placed it there already, plans to put a response trailer there. So that's really good for our community, that those resources will be readily available. Also, the Citrus Fair. The Citrus Fair continues to work diligently to get a full-time, large capacity generator at their facility. They currently do not have one in place. As you know, PG&E, I think it was last year, wound up taking their high capacity generator back. And in place of that, CERT was gracious enough to put their large capacity generator at the Citrus Fair should there be a need. The timing is perfect to have it there because we also might be facing some unexpected public safety power shutoffs. If you read in the Press Democrat, the PG&E anticipates approximately 4 of those, but they did not give a time or a location. But I'm happy to say that we're also prepared for that. If there is a PSPS, our shelter's ready to go. It has generation, and that's only if PG&E decides to de-energize Cloverdale and doesn't set up a CRC. As you know, and as you've seen in the past, when they do that, they typically, for the northern end, set up a community resource center, which comes with all of the generators, the waters, and the outlets to charge your phones and everything, and air conditioning. So we're set either way. If they were to bring one, great. If not, the shelter is designed and ready for that. And the Citrus Fair continues. In my discussions with Tom, he has not stopped trying to commandeer one of those PG&E generators. And I know Jeff Peters with CERT has worked very hard with the Citrus Fair and written several grants to try to obtain generation for the entire Citrus Fair, not just the tea room, but the entire facility. We're hoping that that's still the case and it's still going to happen. I just talked to you a little bit about PSPS. We're set and ready for those should they come to Cloverdale. I'll be sending out a nixle and a preparedness effort for PSPS, just like we did with the fire season coming on. So we're at least going to give notices to our folks here to have them be ready and hope that they take note of what we're sending them and have themselves prepared. I know we've done plenty of work. We have an unbelievable group of community volunteers and nonprofits together working here to make sure all of this information lands in all of our community's hands. So I'm very pleased with where we're at, and I just wanted to pass that on to you about where Cloverdale is.
Thank you, Chief. And to kind of dovetail on the Chief's comments, we were notified earlier this month that North County Fire, which comprises both the Cloverdale and the Northern Sonoma County Fire Protection Districts, were awarded a $7.4 million grant. The bulk of that grant funding will be directed towards vegetation management in our surrounding hillsides, which is where a lot of significant fire threat is derived from. In addition to that, or part of that funding is intended to cover the cost of a permanent generator for the Citrus Fair. So that'll kind of address the issue of only having it available at certain periods of time to having it year-round, which now more than ever it seems like emergencies are always present, or there's certainly the opportunity for them. So kind of good news, and I want to acknowledge the work that the fire districts did to secure that funding with the help of our Board of Supervisors and, of course, our representatives at the state, because I think the other significant emergency preparedness effort has been the significant vegetation management efforts that have been undertaken by Northern Sonoma County Fire District, as well as our own staff in really addressing some of the significant vegetation management threats at our Porterfield Creek open space. Our Park Superintendent Hector Galvan is actively working on the next phase of vegetation management, and we're trying to get as much volunteers through the state as we can to help with that effort. So a lot of work is being done, and I just want to thank Chief for giving council an update on some of the activities under the heading of Resilient Cloverdale and Clover Ready. So I think council should be proud to all the work that staff has dedicated to trying to bring and ensure this community is safe.
David, I had one question on that. It just kind of spurred a thought of, and it's been brought up a couple times on, and Clover Ready and all of this, but there's sections of town, I hate to always harp on going up some of the cul-de-sacs we have, and they have the big bollards up there, and they're locked down. I was just wondering if there's any type of, in the CERT program or anything, a block captain, for instance, or something like that, that's a local resident in that neighborhood that has the key in order to either open a gate or unlock those bollards. Reason I'm saying that is after going through the Tubbs fire, I saw that rules go out the window when people are panicked. And, you know, that would be a good, especially going up onto Hot Springs, if something happens on, say, for Pepperwood, for instance, and that's a second access to get out and allow people to kind of make a loop. I'm wondering if that's something we could consider as maybe get one of the CERT members or somebody we designate as a block captain or that's involved in that could possibly have a key, just hold on to that key, and that's one of the first things they do is go up and open that and access another access for that community to get out of there.
Yeah, you made a great comment, Councilmember Wheeler, and you used the term block captain. It actually dovetails right into the next phase of Clover Ready. The next phase involves bringing our emergency preparedness efforts down to the neighborhood level and actually starting that process of designating block captains that are going to, be the leaders for their neighborhood because, we all have learned that our life safety personnel are going to be busy during an emergency event and aren't going to be able to go to every person's home and every person's neighborhood. So we're going to be relying on our neighborhood block leaders to do things just as you indicated, make sure there's evacuation pathways available. And so as part of that conversation, I think you raised a good topic is how do we ensure that those block captains have the right tools to be able to evacuate or get folks out of their respective neighborhoods. So that's something we'll definitely be working on as this effort progresses for this next calendar year.
All right, we will turn to P, adjournment. The record show we're adjourning the meeting at 6:47 p.m. Mike.
Staff, thank you for coming. Alex, thank you for stepping in. So,
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
thank you. Thanks, Brian.